All right. Thank you so much, Louise. Um, so, we're excited to share a little bit about the Mesa Impact Stories project. A huge shout out to Rudy McCormick from Arizona Mesa for making this happen. You can see all of the stories on the Mesa USA webpage. Some of you may have already gotten some of the posters or playing cards to your schools. But we have highlighted one success story from each Mesa state. And the next thing we want to share with you is how you can utilize this tool, not just for students to be able to see themselves in STEM careers, but also to help them with other professional skills. So using it in a more interactive way that really helps them get involved with the stories of each individual. So what we have designed for you is a little bit hectic, but we believe in you. This is the last push for the day. So what we're going to be doing in a moment, we're going to break out into teams. And for each of you, you'll be assigned a room. So whatever your room number is, there is a slide that corresponds. Breakout room one, the slide that says room one, we can figure that part out. What we're asking each of you to do at the top of the slide, you'll see three images. Those correspond to three different success stories. If you click on them, it'll take you directly to the full story that you can also visit with your students. You'll notice the QR codes available for each of the stories also go directly to those stories, so you can use those in the classrooms as well. But we're going to ask you to figure out, however is appropriate for your group size, skill, and ability, to fill out the information in the slides. So asking some of the things in the stories like um, career field, potential income, but also thinking about what are the soft skills besides STEM that each student was able to get through their MESA experience. Because these are real people, not every single box is going to fit perfectly. If it's not clear, just move on. It might not fit. That's okay. What we want you to do and what we want students to do is start to see some patterns throughout all of these stories and start to make some connections with what they're doing in Mesa and how that can impact them later down the road. Okay, so it's not too serious. Don't get perfectionist with it. You only have 15 minutes. So this is a nice little last hustle before you're off to your weekend. Rudy, anything else before we split into groups?
Yeah, I'll just mention that that second slide on the lower right will be the last part of the breakout room activity. We're going to keep in the breakouts for a little while, kind of working with the individuals in your room. And that last part will kind of focus on that. You're going to see that that slide has five boxes and some instructions in that sixth box. Find your particular room number and kind of you're going to just kind of share your comments there as to how you might kind of utilize this in a classroom setting with your students, which is important for us to kind of think about. And we hope that this might be something that will be helpful to you and your students as you engage with impact stories. And I think with that, Jenny, if that's okay, we'll go ahead and dismiss folks into the breakout rooms. You'll see before you go into the breakout rooms that in the chat is a link to one PowerPoint or one slide deck that again we're all going to be working on, but that folks will kind of jump into again their specific room in those slides 1 through 15 to begin with, and then we'll be kind of providing some time reminders via the that ominous messaging system that we do and we
Yes, that's correct.
awesome. Let us just say it was super cool to kind of peek into the slideshow and to see how much work occurred in a relatively short period of time. People jumping from slides to impact stories, reading through those, culling out the detail that we were kind of asking you to kind of explore. All that to say that these these cards that were kind of created, they're awesome, and we love the artwork that's there. But if they're just cards or if they're just the artwork, we feel we may have missed the mark, and that instead there's some incredible kind of impact stories. We had an opportunity to hear earlier today from Monica, who shared her story, and hopefully, as you got a chance to jump into her impact story, you might have even learned a little bit more about all that drives her to go from that middle school student to move herself through high school, through, if I'm not mistaken, community college, and then to the university. But just awesome stories, and each story being diverse. So seeing some of those trends across stories, but also seeing some of the differentiations, which is a great thing when we have this kind of beautiful group of diverse humans in front of us. So thank you so much for kind of doing this work. Um, we wanted to mention that we're wanting to make sure that advisors and MESA staff have access to some curricular kind of stems, um, some starting points for activities just like the one that we use today. I feel like that activity could those slides could either be printed out and handed out to students to then jump onto their jump into some of the stories and explore them themselves, or we will also be providing you with a copy of these slides so that you can download your own kind of slide deck and use it with your group of students and have them participate in a way that was similar to what we did today. Um, on the screen here, you'll see the awesome website that our National USA, MESA USA Curriculum Committee puts together with all these modules that help us around the NEDC, the National Engineering Design Competition. And then at this very bottom section, you're going to see some additional resources and materials. And what I will promise you is in this next kind of week, after convening, you're also going to find some of these resources that we've mentioned here. That this activity that you participated in will be kind of in this additional resources and materials section, and that we've got some other activities that we've also kind of put together as well. So, for example, just a few weeks ago, we had a MESA USA kickoff meeting for MESA staff, and Jenny did an awesome job of leading the staff through using the impact stories to introduce our students to resumes or to LinkedIn if they're kind of high school students. Why? Because we want to make sure that we continue to be connected, that these students create LinkedIn profiles, and that hopefully they join a MESA state, and that we can kind of continue to benefit from all that these individuals have to offer us, and that we continue to ask ourselves, how can we serve these MESA alumni and provide them with opportunities, provide them with resources as well. So Jenny did a great activity that focused in on LinkedIn. We'll probably link that recording as well as some of the activity description of that activity as well. And then there's another activity that we haven't had a chance to kind of do just yet. So I'm going to kind of jump into this and might as well do it right here. We've got some time on a Saturday. What might the cards hold for you for your future is the title of this activity. And in this activity, what if we did like a little bit of vision boarding with our students? And while we've had a chance to kind of explore these different cards, like what if the students could kind of create their own cards? Could be kind of on a digital template. They could kind of do it on scratch paper. They can do it with art, whatever they'd like to do, whatever that way that kind of allows them to express themselves fully would be awesome. But what if they got to kind of personalize that, kind of start to put a name on it, say this is what I'm kind of forecasting for my future. Of course, what if there was a little bit of Mesa in there, right? I think about it for myself as a middle school or a high school student. What if I had participated in Mesa? What might that have meant for me? Maybe that would have meant that I would have been thinking about college as a middle school student and starting to kind of develop that plan. I see myself potentially at a college or university like the University of Arizona. That I could start to kind of see that, right? Maybe I'm in a MESA classroom with an advisor that attends a session that kind of comes back and brings some project management and invention skill sets to me. And all of a sudden, it's got me kind of thinking that I want to go into project management and invention. Why not? Let's do them both, right? What might that mean? What might that look like? Could be, could Marvel us? Could be marvelous. But either way, we've got some cool activities that we hope that your students can kind of put themselves into some future, into their futures, kind of foresee themselves in a future career, start to kind of put that in, do that visioning for themselves. And so we're really, really super excited about the ways that we're hoping we've set up to for the cards to be used, and we're even more excited to hear from you as advisors and MESA staff and how you'll use these with your students to kind of highlight the impact of over 50, I think we're at 55 years coming up of MESA USA across this country. So we're super thankful for this opportunity to showcase the engagement and the way that we can engage our students in these impact stories. My thanks to Jenny for our partnership and kind of this presentation today. And with that, I'm going to turn it back over to Luis.